All right, there is a political storm brewing over tax cuts. Do any of you remember when Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said this?
Our objective is to pass tax reform by the August recess.
So by August, voted, done, agreed.
And signed.
I caught something from Mitch McConnell saying this past week this.
I think we'll be able to produce a much better tax code that will make a huge difference for our country, and it will be done during this Congress.
During this Congress. This Congress goes, of course, as you know, into next year, which means, and had prompted fears, do they mean the tax cuts don't get done until next year at the earliest, if at all? Political commentator Wendy Osefo. We've got Fox News contributor Gary Kaltbaum, GOP strategist Gianna Caldwell. Gianna, Wendy, with you, begin with you. If this is a development that materializes next year at the earliest, if it does, then what?
Ooh, we can't wait until next year, Neil. I mean, honestly, this has become a show that no one on the Republican side wants to see. We should have gotten it done this month in August. I tell you, I think that there's some motivation on the Hill to get this done, and I take you back to the words of JFK, which was every dollar released from taxation that is spent or invested will help create a new job and a new salary. There's a lot of folks in the Republican Party that are very interested in that. I think what becomes the problem is President Trump's targeting of Republican members on the Hill. There's a lot of folks that are pretty disgusted by some of the things that he has said in attacking people like John McCain and others, and they believe that that may provide some tension in terms of actually getting this done. I tend to disagree with that. I believe that our leaders in the Republican Party believe in country over party, and they're not going to allow petty disputes to prevent this from getting done. So I'm looking forward to some movement. I'm happy to see.
They're hardly above the fray. I mean, but I see what you're saying. There is a little agita, Gary, to use an Italian term there, that when the president is brought up publicly, the likes of Jeff Flake, John McCain, Bob Corker, Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, there is something what John says.
Man, this is a long list. You keep talking, Neil. It's a super long list.
Ill will there. Now, other presidents have privately bemoaned getting blocked by their own party. This president's put it out there. Others have compared it to a coach just berating his team and trying to get the job done. What do you think?
This is not just the team. These are politicians that won elections. They have big egos, and sometimes they want to be massaged, and they're not being. And the exact thing is,
well, he's saying they don't deserve to be massaged, right?
Well, listen. I use the term Republican leadership as an oxymoron right now because they're just not getting anything done. And for me, the big worry is simple. If we've been sitting here for months, 12 different things out of 12 different mouths on 12 different dates. We're now past August. We get into Labor Day. Then we deal with Columbus Day, then Christmas, then January. We're going to be in Groundhog's Day. And something some people haven't brought up, the markets. They're cooperating here. It's actually much easier to get things done when markets are cooperating and all of Wall Street's happy and people are
but
feeling,
if you had a big sell-off,
wealthy.
Maybe that would get them off their fannies.
No, you get a big sell-off. I think they're going to have to worry about that more, and then things don't get done, and that is bad news.
Wendy, I always wonder, and maybe the perspective from Democrats who seem to think, well, let the Republicans implode. Then I look at the money they're raising and the popularity they're enjoying, and it isn't much to write home about. So it seems like voters seem to be reflecting a pox on both parties' houses for not moving the ball here. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that Trump...
Really? I literally just made that up. That's so cool.
Well, I actually agree with you, so that is pretty cool. But I believe that Trump and the Republican Party desperately need a legislative win here, but tax reform will be a hard sell for the American people. Not to mention that Trump's salesmanship has not shown that tax reform is a legislative priority, and only half of Americans will be...
That could change this week. He's apparently taking his act to Missouri and going to lead the charge. It might make a difference.
But it needs to happen if it's going to happen this year, and let's underscore the fact that only half of Americans will be directly impacted, and only 10% of Americans paid 71% in federal taxes. If I were to give Trump any advice, I would say to take a page out of JFK's playbook and underscore how this will spur economic growth as well as jobs for all. But right now, this is the last best chance for the Republican Party, and I just feel that Trump lacks the leadership needed to propel this forward.
Well, you don't know. I mean, Jenna, one of the things that everyone has acknowledged that this is something on which they all agree and want to get done, and their political heinies depend on it getting done. But again, you could make the same argument. The healthcare revamp required that, and they didn't do that. So what's your prediction?
My prediction is if we don't get something done, then the midterms look awful. And I don't think Republicans are willing to lose majorities all over simply because there was something within our grasp and we didn't do. It doesn't make sense. I'm thankful to see that President Trump has said, look, I'm going to campaign for tax reform. So he's going to go around the country. That's going to be helpful. That's going to create an environment in which we can actually get something done and accomplished. I think that Republicans on the Hill are very, very motivated to get this done. So I disagree with my friend Wendy there. I think that it's something that is likely to happen. However, Neil, I think you rightly point out that it didn't happen with the health care bill, which was a whole lot more complex. Tax reform is complex as well, but there's things that we can do, especially if you're talking about benefiting the middle class. I would say cut the payroll tax. That could be something that's going to provide
I will
some
agree
money
here.
into
There's a little
somebody's pocket
broader
right away.
agreement on this issue, but Gary, help me with the markets. You're the expert here. They have been holding up very well, even with growing doubts about how likely we get tax cuts or how soon, which makes me begin to wonder, is that rally contingent on seeing tax cuts at all, or is it based on earnings, steady and stable growth? The Federal Reserve seems to be doing its job. Goldilocks economy. What is it?
I think the tax part will be important, but look, here's the good news, and I saw a picture of the 3 big central bankers in Jackson Hole. They're the ones that are really matter the most, the printing of $20 trillion, keeping rates negative in parts of the globe. So that's big stuff, but I have to tell you, longer term, we cannot continue on this trajectory of massively higher debt, deficits, government spending, and taxes.
But we have. We've gone on for decades.
But eventually, something's going to give. We are going to hit a wall, and it is going to be a bad wall.
Can't you tell me when that wall's going to be?
I wish I knew. They have been able to control interest rates. When debt goes up, interest rates are supposed to go up with it. If they ever lose control of interest rates with all this money printing, Katie bar the door on that bad boy.
Wendy, one of the things that we lose sight of also in this argument is how quickly they begin to move on raising the debt ceiling, and there's a fight back and forth. What do they do about that? What do you think?
Well, it is a fight back and forth, and I also think that this is where we start looking at the infighting within the Republican Party, right? But I think that what Gianno said is really important, is that they need to come to a consensus.
Don't encourage him.
No, but I have to. When he's right, he's right.
Encourage me, Wendy.
But they need to come to a consensus, because this is going to be a big issue when it comes to 2018 and the midterms. And if the Dems want to take over the House, which I know they will, I think that this is a place where we're going to.
Wendy, come on. You were good at first. You were on the right track, and then you said something outrageous.
Okay. Let me backtrack
Gianno, you're
a little
not buying what she's saying.
Gianno, you buying
Say that again, Neil?
You're not buying what she's saying.
The Dems are going to take over the House? Absolutely not. That's not even close to being possible. Republicans, actually Democrats, especially in the Senate, are going to have to defend, I believe it's 8 seats. We're probably going to take more seats.
It could be a big dramatic shift. We don't know. We'll see. Guys, I want to thank you all. In the meantime, we are going to be hearing from